All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about Seoul today, but not just as any other city. No, we're looking at it as a kind of blueprint for a hyper-accelerated future. I mean, this is an urban system that moves at the speed of thought. And this isn't just about cool skyscrapers and subways. It's about the engine humming underneath it all.
Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about centuries of slow change. We're talking about going from total ruin to a global powerhouse in the span of a single human life. This one quote, it really captures the unbelievable scale of what happened in Seoul, and it's the key to understanding, well, everything that comes next. So, check this out. In most cities, history can feel like an anchor, right? It kind of weighs down development. But in Seoul, its traumatic history basically became rocket fuel. The memory of all that destruction didn't make them cautious. It created this relentless, unstoppable drive to build the future, and to do it faster than anyone thought was even possible. So, to really get how this engine was built, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning, back to that moment right after the collapse, when the city was pretty much nothing more than rubble and resolve. The city's modern story starts right here, with just total and complete devastation. I mean, imagine a slate just wiped clean by war. The infrastructure? Gone. The economy? It had just ceased to exist, and its people were scattered everywhere. This was ground zero. And this is the perfect way to picture what happened next. See, Seoul didn't grow organically over time. It was engineered. This city pulled off one of the most rapid, state-driven urban recoveries in all of history, literally compressing generations of development into just a few short decades. And this really gets to the heart of it all. This wasn't just about ambition or some kind of national pride. For Seoul, moving at an impossible speed was a matter of life and death. And that sense of urgency, it became the city's foundational mindset for the next 70 years. So, how exactly does a mindset build an entire system? How do you actually engineer a city to sustain that kind of acceleration? Well, spoiler alert, it wasn't an accident. This was all by design. It pretty much boils down to this three-part formula. First, you have this intensive top-down state planning that organized every single aspect of growth. Second, a laser focus on key industries like manufacturing. And third, integrating technology not as some kind of luxury, but as a core part of the city's structure right from the start. Now, one of the key results of all this planning is how Seoul treats density. In a lot of cities, density just means chaos. But here, it's an advantage. The skyline is just dominated by these organized vertical communities. We're talking massive, planned apartment complexes, all deeply woven into one of the world's most efficient public transit systems. Every movement is optimized. And this right here gets to the absolute core of the city's philosophy on tech. Things like high-speed internet, digital payments, smart transit, these aren't just convenient add-ons. They're treated like fundamental utilities, as essential as water or electricity. Technology is literally the city's central nervous system. Okay, so we've seen the engine, but what does this engine actually produce? And maybe the more important question is, what kind of fuel does it burn? Because this system creates incredible global power, but it also generates immense local pressure. I mean, the results from this engine are just staggering. Seoul is an economic command center. It's home to manufacturing giants and huge tech innovators. And of course, it's a cultural powerhouse, exporting music, film, and fashion that literally shapes global trends. But that level of output, it demands a constant, high-intensity energy input from its people. And this is where you start to see the human cost. The work culture is just relentless. Ambition is the default setting for everyone. And the immense pressure to perform often makes the burnout that follows socially invisible. This slide gets right to the heart of the trade-off. Seoul's incredible global influence, its soft power, is fueled directly by a strict, highly demanding internal discipline. That pressure cooker of hyper-competitive education and work is what produces the innovation and culture that the rest of the world consumes. So, the big takeaway here is that the system, well, it works. It's incredibly effective at achieving its goals. There's no question about that. But that efficiency doesn't come for free. It's paid for with the personal well-being of its citizens, who have to navigate this high-pressure world from a very, very young age. And that brings us to today, because the very model of speed and efficiency that built modern Seoul is now facing a whole new set of challenges. And these are challenges it might not be equipped to handle. Yeah, these are not the kinds of problems you can solve by just going faster.
An aging population and the world's lowest birth rate, that directly threatens a system built on a massive, young, energetic workforce. The old solutions just might not apply here.
But the city's default response to all this is what's so fascinating. Faced with these complex new problems, Seoul's instinct isn't to pause or to reflect. Its instinct is to upgrade, to apply more planning, more technology, more policy. It's trying to solve the problems of acceleration with even more acceleration.
And that brings us to the final, really provocative question of this explainer. The Seoul model is powerful, it's disciplined, and it is deeply impressive. But is a system that's optimized for constant maximum output really sustainable in the long run? Can a city built for speed ever learn to change gears, or even to rest? It's a question that might just define the future of urban life everywhere.